Live.
Like you know how to handle a microphone.
It is February 4th, 2025, first council meeting in February.
Not a little. When did you start,
PM.
Jan?
We'll start early. Yeah. Diane Gunner, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Diane. Yes, thank you very much.
The audience is
Roll call?
Blankenship.
Here.
Rita Joseph.
here.
Ginsmore.
Here.
Steiner here. Godwin.
Here.
Lackler.
Here.
All present.
All right, I have a motion for the approval of the minutes.
I motion to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any questions, comments, additions, subtractions? Call for the vote.
Lackler.
Aye.
Godwin.
Aye.
Steiner, aye. Ginsmore. Joseph.
Aye.
Blankenship.
Aye.
Solicitor monthly report.
New year, busy start to it from our end. Mostly the American Legal Publishing stuff that council asked me to review. Met with Rita and Matt on Friday. I gave them all my recommendations, which my understanding is most of which were approved today at the Laws and Ordinances meeting. There are still a couple outstanding issues which we were going to go over with the village administrator and fiscal officer before these are due. There were also a handful of questions from council and the mayor over the last month, and I also drafted at least one ordinance, I think, as well.
Any questions for our solicitor?
I would like you to speak to, seems to be some confusion about our government structure. And because we are a village with a non-charter, historically and according to research and articles, and thank you, Jan, for supplying this, that basically we have what they refer to as a weak mayor government. Is that correct? Do you understand?
Generally speaking, so the structure of the village, let's look at it more like a company or a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Council exists as the board of directors, directing the ship, directing the company, directing the village. And then it is the job of the mayor, who takes the position of the president of the company or the manager of the company, to sort of carry out the desires of the board, who set the high-level goals and objectives, set the funding requirements, and set the rules for the game for the mayor and all of his subordinates, the employees, to follow. And when it comes to subordinates, the mayor has managerial authority over those folks with certain limitations that council has to occasionally get involved in, especially when it comes to like the severe discipline of officers within the village, such as suspensions, demotions, terminations, stuff like that.
Some, according to our ordinances, the mayor has some authority on some of that, but then some of that falls under council and it has to go by council.
Or it gets initiated by the mayor and then brought to council.
Right.
Usually is how that would
But
go.
council has to approve. Well, yeah, depends on what that is. Like, say, the Jeff's position, that's council driven. We're the ones that appoint that. We're the ones that oversee that. We're the ones that, if there's an issue, then it comes, that's, according to our ordinances, that's,
Generally speaking, yes.
Mhm.
The mayor does have some, because he's an officer, the mayor
Sure.
does have some supervisory authority of the zoning inspector position, wherein, like, if there is some egregious conduct, he can essentially, the way that the ordinance, not the ordinances, but the revised code on this is written, is charge him with some form of misconduct and bring that charge before council.
Right. And that typically goes through our HR. But then speaking to, according to this article and what we've always, our body has always acted, the village, in addition to general grant of power, the mayor of the village is specifically charged with executing contracts made by the legislative authority. And in our government, the legislative authority is the council. And as far as initiating or negotiating a contract outside of the authority of council, that becomes a sticky wicket.
So it's a bit of a gray area. I mean, the mayor is the face of the village. Again, he's the manager of the corporation, the president of the corporation, the mayor of the village. Generally a high-profile point of contact for the village. The person who is, talking with folks day in and day out, making sure that the village's business is done in accordance with the wishes of council. And that's where things get in this gray area. It's also where the difference between what is right and what is legal kind of comes into place. I'm not here to tell anybody what's right, only what's legal, because I don't know what's right in this kind of situation. For example, let's talk, I know fiber is a popular thing, or the sewers are a popular topic of discussion here in the village. Folks want to run fiber through the village. Folks want to run sewers through the village. They might come to council one night and give you their proposal, but there's nothing stopping that prospective village partner, from speaking with the mayor first and saying, hey, mayor, I don't want to waste my time putting something together. Do you think this would be feasible? What are your general thoughts as an elected official here for the village, who's responsible for managing the daily operations of the village?
Absolutely.
What is feasible? What is not feasible? And then they can talk. They can figure something out. I don't know to the extent that they would want to have that kind of conversation before speaking to the council. But let's say somebody's like, hey, I can run fiber through the village for less than $10 million if we can get XYZ subscribers and these sorts of, tax benefits, this, that, and the other. They can have those conversations. The mayor can bring those to the responsible committee, or
But as far
they
as
can-
the content, yeah, absolutely. But as far as pounding out the contract, any kind of actual contract or seeking big numbers or anything like that, typically what has happened in our government in the past, and according to the article and the other authorities, that it typically, once a conversation starts, then it's brought to the committee that presides over that area, and then it goes through council before any more talks are proceeded with. It's like go ahead then. If, it's a responsibility to bring it to council before you continue on to get into like big meat of the conversation.
well, that's where
That's
we
where
get
your
back
gray
to
area?
right versus legal.
Okay, all right.
So what's legal is the mayor certainly cannot enter into a final agreement
Oh,
and bind the
absolutely.
village to anybody
No.
without council's prior authorization, without council's ability to review whatever this agreement's going to be, hold whatever hearings it feels like it needs to have, and basically sussing out whatever and parsing out whatever these terms and conditions are going to be. What are the benefits for the village? What are the detriments for the village?
Sure.
So from a legal perspective, that's where the firm, clear line is. You cannot as the mayor, bind the village, council president, bind the village
No, I can't.
without review, whatever this agreement's going to be, there's a firm, clear line is, you cannot, I hate how my voice sounds.
Thank you, Matt, we needed that.
You're making me feel real,
One in every crowd, sorry, Seth.
that's okay. But that's the gist of it.
Mhm.
There's what's right, there's the custom, and then there's what's legal.
Right.
And that's where, you know,
Well, I mean, like, whenever we, negotiated the police contract, the whole safety committee at that time, back in the day, the whole safety committee went along with that mayor. Well, the safety committee started the talks with them, and then the mayor, it was their Mayor Knack at the time, went and negotiated the rest of the contract, brought it back to council. So that's typically how things have been done here. So I just wanted clarification on that. And then our structure as far as that we have the president of council, and Jan can attest to this. The president of council, if you look in the book, is basically the role of president of council is to run the meetings when the mayor is not available, take the minutes, and take care of recording the votes when the fiscal officer isn't there. And then the other, like the one we put in there that's in there, also is supposed to talk to and do the chair heads and the committees. So, I mean, other than that, the full council makes decisions. Same way with the committee assignments. The chair of a committee is, the only power a chair of a committee has is to run that meeting for that committee. Has no more or less authority over that committee than any other member of the committee. And any member of that committee can do the work of what that committee is designed to do. And it's lead the meeting, take care and make sure the minutes are done, and to post meetings if there's a special meeting within the 24-hour period. Is that according, that's...
I mean, that sounds
Yeah.
sounds like a good summary of what each of those roles from council
Okay.
president to the chair of the committee have. It's more just making sure everything has an orderly flow, making sure, you know, the meetings are scheduled properly, and if a meeting needs to be called, it's incumbent upon them to call a special meeting if necessary.
Okay.
Just
Yep.
10,000-foot view.
Yep.
This information came from a magazine, a quarterly magazine from the state. It's heavily filled with laws and references it's broke down, it's quite complicated. And as you read the article, you can tell there's a difference, but it doesn't really seem to be clear other than the things that you said. And you could tell how close they must be. But it's years and years ahead of the common one now. It's the old places that have this setup, I guess. I have the magazine that had that in it. We used to get about a dozen of them here. Everybody had all these references. Yeah. Of course, they cut that out.
Yeah, and I would say every municipal body has its differences and operates slightly different based upon its resolutions, based upon its ordinances in place. Again, we're not a charter, we don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But each entity's ordinances are going to give it a slightly different flavor, a slightly different strategy to doing business. Each body, from the mayor to council to its constituents, is also going to flavor how they do business. Business in Clinton isn't
That book, please.
the green one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how folks do business in Clinton isn't necessarily going to be the same way people do business in Beach City, Stark County, Ohio, or Louisville in Stark County, Ohio, or Cleveland.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, everybody has different needs and different personalities, and different ideas on how government should function as far as
Sure, I mean,
how they're going to carry out the business.
even according to the ORC and the sunshine laws and all of that, city structure government is totally different than village, government. A non-chartered village is different than, and that's according to the ORC, is different than a chartered government, and we are a non-chartered,
Some of those entities are actually villages, like Beach
Right.
City's, I think, less than 1,000 people.
yeah. And it also has, an effect whether you are, your classification. There's different classifications of non-chartered villages, right? So,
Is there a point to this? Bud, are you doing some wheel and dealing that we don't know about?
Not aware of
Why are you
anything.
wasting time on going over the wall?
there's no.
If you have no point, it has nothing to do with it, why are we discussing this?
Because clearly there's confusion about our structure of government, so just making sure that
Well,
everybody.
I think that may be what Ross is asking. What,
Yeah.
What's the point?
The point is,
For 10 minutes, we've been discussing what the law is, but we are all lost. I guarantee it. I've been looking around the room. Nobody knows what you're talking about.
okay. Well, most people do. It's, never mind.
what's the confusion in government? I don't know the answer, I don't know what you're addressing. I understand the semantics, it's the confusion between the charter, what was it, the
Charter, non-charter?
charter, non-charter, something, but I don't know where you can insinuating that council doesn't know what type of government we are and we aren't following proper procedures. I guess it would.
Well, no, it wouldn't be that we're not, following proper procedures. There has been some, indication or implications that things have transpired and put in a public forum. So I just wanted to make sure that the village residents knew what the structure of the government was, and that who has the authority to do what.
Sure. So if we have a flow chart on who does what, the mayor definitely sits atop of the flow chart, right?
Well,
And
actually not.
he's the administrator.
Right.
We're the legislators. So we're legislating ordinances and resolutions. He's administrating that. And
Under
know.
our orders and directions,
understood.
yes.
But he can certainly talk to other mayors. He can talk to state officials. He's looking
Okay.
for opportunities, so to speak, and then brings it back to us as an opportunity to legislate. I don't want to hog tie our mayor to where he can't do anything. It seems to be a pretty thin line.
They can only go so far before it has.
Duly noted.
Yep.
But I'd like to make a point. Last week I couldn't make it, but somebody was saying, since I was the chair of the utility commission, that it was my job, my responsibility to go around and report streetlights. But now, with your conversation tonight, the chair's only job or responsibility is to handle that meeting.
Not the
So that
only-
contradicted last meeting.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that you brought that up to tell us
Well-
what the job is for the chair.
Well, no, if you want to actually say what was said, it always has been that the chair of those committees did that job. Not to say that somebody else can't do it, but it always has been until now that the chair of the utility committee was the one that went around, and when Bud was the chair of the utility committee, he went around
I
and
understand
reported.
that, but you just said tonight that the chair doesn't have to do that.
He doesn't.
And you looked that up and you read it right off our rules.
And you're right, and that
So
doesn't
the chair doesn't
necessarily have to do it,
Thank you.
doesn't necessarily have to do it,
Yeah,
but
throw voice down.
but that's okay, anyway. You are.
At some point, I'm going to
proving
tell
your
you
point.
where there's a light that needs to be fixed,
Okay.
Yeah.
down my way.
Yeah.
We go on the police report?
Yep.
I think it's about time. All right, anything else for this lister? Thank you very much. Police monthly report, thank you.
How we doing?
Good, thank you.
All right. For the Village of Clinton, January 2025, we checked 59 businesses. There was no domestic incidents and no assault incidents. There were 44 traffic stops that were performed, and 32 of the traffic stops made were for stop sign violations at several intersections within the village limits. Of those 32 stops made, 7 of them were issued citations. Motor vehicle accidents, there were 3. Welfare checks, 3. Traffic citations, 7. Criminal arrests, 0. Suspicious vehicles, 0. Suspicious people, 0. Animal complaints, 3. Alarm drops, 1. Extra patrols, 31, and 0 escorts.
I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Those accidents, were those due to weather or negligent driving?
That I don't know.
Okay.
But if you like, I can go back and check and you can.
I'm just
Give me
curious
a call.
about it, not a big deal. The one thing I was talking to your chief a week or so ago. We were talking about traffic, street lights out. I had one complaint up the road, not only about a street light, but that has the fixed. It usually has nothing to do with, but along that conversation came the speeding down Van Buren, and also I had complained about the people not stopping the traffic at the stop sign coming off Nemasilla. These people live near there, and they notice that a whole lot more often than I do, and I guess that is quite a problem. So I'm hoping you guys are trying to cover that area a little bit better.
Well, yes, since you brought it up last meeting
Mm-hmm.
about the Nemasilla and Van Buren, I actually did personally make 2 stops from that stop sign. Most of mine, though, were, again, down here at the freeway, 3 different stop signs, down here at North Street, Clinton Road, and Hickory. And there were several here at this intersection as well. So,
Well, I think it's pretty clear, Bud, they were responsive to your request last month for the traffic stops. I mean, we
Yes,
had 32 stop sign stops.
Thank you for that.
So
and I
that's
know
huge.
I've seen you drive by and wave several times as we sat down here, and we've tried to increase our presence down here as much as possible. When we're not busy doing other things. But again, I just want to be very clear that these stop sign violations or even speeding violations and stuff like that I know you asked for 0 tolerance, and again, we can't do that because officer discretion is very important for these officers to have.
I did talk to the chief, police chief about that, and he did help me understand that position a lot better. So thank you.
And with that being said, you guys represent the Village of Clinton, so you're being held to a higher standard. I represent the city of New Franklin as well as the Village of Clinton since we patrol here. So if anybody is stopped, they're going to probably receive a citation, whether it be me or whether it be you. So just for the simple fact that it is brought to our attention several times. So I just want that to be known.
Okay.
So.
Well, I thank you for your increase in what you've done since last month, and I'm hoping it helps because I'm actually getting more phone calls. It's not just me that's seeing it, so I appreciate
Well,
that.
I'll say that just issuing citations alone doesn't necessarily stop the incidents from happening.
Mm-hmm.
More and more traffic stops, like you've seen, we perform several traffic stops. That will also help, decrease most of these. Obviously, there's people that drive through here that don't drive through here every day. It's just an occasional thing. But most of the people that do drive through here have expressed their frustrations with the stops on multiple occasions.
I have a question. Is the traffic back to normal coming off of the
21?
21? Is traffic coming off of 21, is that back to normal?
I don't know anything about 21 because it's not in our jurisdiction.
Yeah, we don't go up that far. We're about.
No, but the stuff that comes off of there.
There's been I think they've halted for the season and it'll probably start up in the spring, but
Construction on
It's
Route
all.
21 affects.
it's normal. It's back to normal.
It's way better than it was before.
Mhm.
They actually have like a turning lane now, because before it was just a free-for-all. People would just stop wherever they wanted to. Now there's actually a turning lane.
I guess
Oh,
the
that
question is the traffic coming down Clinton Road back to where it used to be before the construction? Or would you have any way of knowing?
Well, I mean, without, you know, traffic indicators up there is really kind of hard to tell.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest with you, there's a lot of traffic that comes down Clinton Road on a regular basis anyways. So, and like I said, I came from third shift, and you know as well as I do down here on third shift, there's not much for people to do. So the traffic is very light. But
Mhm.
during the second shift, you know, people are coming off from work and whatnot and going places. So, I personally have seen a lot of traffic on Clinton Road, even through on Main Street here. So,
Well, I appreciate all you're doing in the village and also what you do over the Veterans Park,
And Mayor,
driving through there.
I just have one question.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yes.
I've been asked a lot of questions about citing under, I used to be a prosecutor before doing this, and I've been asked a lot of questions over the last month or two about the difference between when an officer cites under the village code or a city code versus the Ohio Revised Code.
mhm.
Is there any way we could get a breakdown on how many
I can
folks
tell
are?
you that 0 have been cited under the village code.
Okay,
We
there
always
anything-
cite under the state code.
okay,
Now, if you guys have updated ordinances that we could cite under,
We will.
yeah, and for my understanding, I knew that it wasn't
Right.
completely updated. So,
okay. Because I just hear domestic violence, I hear stop sign violations. Those are all usually fairly standardized, so I wasn't sure if those were getting cited at least.
yeah, no, I mean like, domestic incidents. So, for example, so domestic violence is we go through Barberton Court,
Yeah.
and they would like us to have a victim. So, if the victim refuses to cooperate, pretty much there's not much that we can do.
Oh, I know.
Now-
Trust me.
Yeah.
I dealt
So-
with those.
Now, we can arrest under the state, you know, however, if it's bad enough, we're going to.
Right.
You know, we're not going to just ignore that, but,
I come from a zero tolerance county, so I get it.
okay. So, you know, we do what we can within the law and try not to go outside of it. You get what I'm saying?
But to summarize, currently, most charges would be through the state ORC. And that was the response we got that night, too.
Okay.
Unless of course it's like a noise violation or something, you know, that's going to be under the whatever city ordinance you guys have for the same as New Franklin.
Is there anything my office could do or council could do to make it easier to cite under Clinton's ordinances if that's what they want?
Yeah, just get them updated and
Get them to you.
Get us a fresh copy, and we
Yeah,
certainly
and
can.
remember, the start of this process was the New Franklin chief calling and saying he thought our ordinances were falling behind, and that's when we discovered that they were.
Okay.
So that was initiated by the chief.
That was before me.
That was one of the calls.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
And do you know, is the city of New Franklin a sanctuary city? Do you know that?
That's a good question.
Because I know that the village is not a sanctuary village. We
Yeah,
have an ordinance
I don't know the
saying
answer to that question, but I can
Okay.
find out for you for next meeting.
So I just want to know if there's a discrepancy between the two.
Yeah, I'll write it down, then we'll
right.
check on it.
Okay, thanks.
All right. And if there's no more questions, thank you very much for your time.
All right, have a good day, guys.
Fire
Thank
Chief,
you.
monthly report.
This is a hot meeting.
Welcome, Wayne. How you doing today? Not pretty good.
Month of January, we had 21 total calls. As you could tell under the fire, we had a little hiccup with our dispatch system. They had to, every time we received a tone, they assigned a run number to it, and they had to set the tones off a couple times to try to narrow down the problem. So that's where the 4 dispatch errors came from. 17 inside village, 4 outside village, 3 to New Franklin, 1 to Canal Fulton.
Sound like a pretty slow month.
January typically is a little bit slower historically, and then picks up a little bit, especially towards the summer times.
Well, that's good, because if you're doing nothing, then it means our village is doing well. Well, we're glad you're there.
Thank you.
Any questions for our fire chief? All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, street commissioner monthly report.
So last month, of course, we had snow, so
quite a few snowstorms and salting events. Been doing some pothole repairs when weather provides. We did meet with, the playground equipment guy we're purchasing the playground equipment with. He came down to Park today, and we, looked over a area that we're gonna place it. He's hoping to have everything maybe get started end of March maybe on that, playground equipment. Ordered some salt, and other than that, that's about all I got.
My understanding, we're removing a bunch of the old equipment that was dangerous.
We're removing the old wooden one that's falling apart, yes.
All right, has that been done yet, or is that something
No, I haven't done that
Okay.
due to weather yet.
Yeah, but you're the one doing it. We're not trying to sell it, get rid of it.
I'll that out, yeah.
Okay, all right. Any questions for our street commissioner? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for keeping us safe.
Fiscal officer, she's not here. Matt, did you have anything?
The only thing I can think of is we did get notice from, Amelia Sykes' office in the federal government that some of the, funding for Clinton roads on hold or on freeze with the federal freeze.
Yeah, I met with her yesterday. I'm gonna talk about that.
Okay, that's the only thing I have. So we just got notice by email that those funds were frozen until further notice.
Okay. Unfinished business. We have a couple items here, the church donation for signage.
Yeah, we did, I did get a list of, more signage options, because the initial ones we had were very expensive, more than the budget we kind of had. So I'm kind of going through those, new options for less money, so we'll see where it takes us. Hopefully we can find something that suffice.
Okay, committees and chairman, I think that was already covered. You covered that last month. Unless there's something else you wanted to add to it.
Yeah, I thought you said keep them the same, didn't you? It was
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
all right. I think one of the things on unfinished business that was mentioned last time is the number of people who have the ability to sign for checks. You guys want to assign someone for that?
Leah and I spoke about it. We operated last year with, just you, myself, Leah, and Scott, her boss. So the four of us were the check signers. I talked to her about it today. Usually when you're signing checks, it's for something that's due in 30 days, so we got plenty of time to get that check signed. Her and I are both comfortable leaving it as is. I guess that's up to council if they want to appoint another person, but, and a majority of the bills I'm approving online. It's not even a check sign.
Yeah.
So, it hasn't been a problem, so I don't see a need to change anything unless council does.
Well, the way it's written is that the mayor, in the event that either the
President of council or chair
or
of
the chair of
finance.
the finance cannot be located or available in a reasonable amount of time. That's the only time the mayor signs the check. And the reason that came about back in a while ago is the fiscal officer at that time was having some issues, and then they weren't always available, so we added the assistant to be able to sign, which now we have Barney. And then the mayor was out, if the chair, because that has been built in there forever, that they shouldn't be one and the same. If they are one and the same, somebody else should sign, right? And because if you're out, which is what is now, if you're out, then there came a time that the fire department was not getting their checks signed, and that's why that's why that came about, because we needed to cover to be able to make sure that we were able to pay our people as well as pay the bills. And like you said,
Isn't that all direct deposited?
Yeah, it's all
A
online.
lot of it is.
okay, and
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to give you some background
Sure.
on why that was put in place, because it wasn't direct deposit back then.
I
There are
understand the
times-
conflict with that.
Yep.
I'm the chair of finance and the president of council. That's usually is two separate people.
Yep.
So that's where the conflict comes.
Yep,
But,
just covering in case there ever is a thing, you know, so.
But again, Leah and I are comfortable with the way it is.
Yeah.
If council sees different, we can make changes.
And the way it's actually written, and this is not exactly what I was looking for, but the way it's written is that it's to be two separate entities. The governing body, elected official is one side, the fiscal officer is a separate side, which is why we made sure Scott Varney got on there in case Leah's not here. They try to get us to those signs like, no, the way it's just written, directly written that by us two signing one check, that's actually illegal. So it has to be a fiscal and elected, two separate bodies. So we need at least two people for each side.
Yep, thank you for that.
Okay, well, if you're comfortable leaving it the way it is, we'll leave it the way it is. Any other unfinished business? Okay. Going on to mayor's communications. I gotta tell you, now, Matt kind of took this a little bit, but I was gonna tell you, you know, how cold it was the past few weeks. It was so cold that our grant for Clinton Road got frozen. And that's a true story. I actually said, I was talking with, went to the meeting at the airport yesterday with Amelia Sykes' office. She had a new candidates meeting there. And Tamika Taylor, who I don't know if Ross, you were here that day or not, that we had her office in here, but she's the lady, Kevin, you were here that day. She's the lady that sat across from us and said she can get that funding. And so that's $1.2 million to help with the road. She came up and spoke with me yesterday, and she said, yeah, right now it's frozen, but she's very confident that it will probably by the middle of February, maybe towards the end, it will get passed, and it will be in there for us. So there's some good confidence there. I walked up afterwards, spoke with Amelia Sykes herself, and she had a couple things to say. One was the same thing Tamika had said, but the other thing, she asked how our railroads are doing, how the stops are. And there is a congressman right now who has a bill in place to limit the amount of time that trains can stop on the tracks. However, she said something else after that. It's doubtful that it will pass. So, anyways, she's still working on that. And she is our only Ohio representative that she is now the vice-ranking member of the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure. So that is a good thing. We've got her on our side, and I end up going to a meeting that she's at least once or twice a year. And she always remembers us. She likes Clinton, and she cares very much about this village and wants to do things for it. So that's on top of her radar every time I talk to her. It's a great thing. Next thing on my list here is I have in real small print, so I didn't know if I printed this, information about Route 21. And the project team completed the following work during the 2024 season. Temporary pavement and crossovers were built. The southbound outside shoulder was built. Northbound lanes were built. And I think you've all seen that happen if you've driven the road. The following work may be performed this winter. Signs, work zone pavement markings, and RPMs would be placed in the existing traffic configuration. Lighting could be installed around the arc cuts. Those, what do they call them? You know, those little U-turns that, what do they call those? Michigan U-turns is a slang name for them. I don't know why, if anybody's watching from Michigan. I didn't make the term up. But that's what's happening on Route 21. One more thing is happening. I did get an email. Our Governor DeWine, he unveils a new budget, a proposed budget, prioritizing children, family, education, and workforce development. I have this printed front and back if anybody would like to read more detail on it, but that's what's happening in our state government. And that is all that I have. Any questions for me? Okay, moving on to council communications and council committee reports. Matt?
I have nothing at this time.
For council committee reports?
We had a committee meeting tonight.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Laws and Ordinance had a committee meeting tonight, and we discussed, with the, moving on
American Legal.
with American Legal, discussing the changes, so that's it.
And then we passed an ordinance, which we'll see on the next starting next agenda.
Okay.
Recommended an ordinance that'll be on our
Yeah.
next agenda.
All right. Sounds good. And we'll see that 2 weeks from now. Any other council communications, council committee reports?
Yes, because Ken Fulton was late to submit their, articles, and that gave me an opportunity to reach out and ask if I could add something, since the last council meeting. So I was able to add in there, a little blurb about the playground equipment and sent a picture in. So that'll be in the newspaper when they get it out. And, I tried to, get it on our Facebook page, but for some reason it didn't work quite correctly. So I'm having Sue and Leah look into what the issue is, and hopefully we'll get it on our official Facebook page soon. But in the meantime, it's gonna be in the newspaper and at everybody's homes whenever they deliver them. So, there's that.
Thank you very much. Anything else at this time? All right, citizens' comments. Diane, you marked no. Did you change your mind? Oh, that's too bad. Ellen, you didn't write anything down. Did you want to speak? Okay. All right, well, that's all for citizens' comments. Next, under resolutions and ordinances.
No first readings. Second reading. Resolution number R-25-2. A resolution authorizing all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC, 2025 Energized Community Grant and declaring an emergency. Third reading. Ordinance number O-25-01. An ordinance amending ordinance number O-23-26, establishing the pay rates for certain employees effective January 1st, 2025, and declaring an emergency. Motion to adopt.
I'll second that.
Do we have any comments on this? Any questions, comments?
Yeah, I wasn't here, so what is it?
Basically, our pay raises that were budgeted, we need to pass that by ordinance. So it was in our budget, but we're just doing a formal agreement.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call for the vote.
Steiner, yay. Godwin,
Aye.
Clackler,
Aye.
Blankenship,
Aye.
Joseph,
Aye.
Ginsmore.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. New business. Do I have anything for new business?
I would.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion for the mayor and or president of council to be able to discuss with New Franklin officials the possibility of rejoining a partnership with our fire departments.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. Discussion. Any questions?
Why would we be doing this?
Yeah. It should go through safety committee. And besides that, we've already established we can't afford it.
We can't afford it. You guys raised our taxes when you took our fire department off. You were on council and you voted to eliminate the partnership.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Let's back up a little bit. I think what Ross is saying is he's trying to, based on our earlier conversation, he's trying to give the mayor permission to talk to New Franklin
Yes.
about rejoining or not rejoining. Just what are the possibilities?
These are just the possibilities of rejoining. It's not going in any kind of contracts. It's not going in any kind of legal binding. It's to be able to talk and to see what the possibilities are. And I think the mayor and the president of council need to be able to have that option.
And if you remember when we split up, the taxes did go up quite a bit.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Mine went up $57 a month.
Well,
Any other discussion on this? Call for the vote.
Blankenship,
Aye.
Joseph,
Aye.
Ginsmore,
no.
Steiner, yay. Godwin,
No.
Clackler,
Aye.
Motion passes. Any other new business? Council general discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Speaking of taxes and the property taxes and the raise and the increases. So, the increase on the property tax that all of Summit County incurred was a directive by the state of Ohio. And the Summit County, state of Ohio recommended a 43% increase, and Summit County countered, and they agreed to go down to 34%. While, yes, levies are taken into consideration, the levy that the fire levy that was voted on and passed by the residents, it was not the sole and only reason for the property tax increases. So, if you are, we did have a 3.75 mil levy. There was an increase of an 8.25 mill levy, which was voted on and passed by our residents. So if you had, there's a lot of information. So basically, if you had a $100,000 home, yes?
So in that levy, there was a renewal and an increase. Was the renewal an 8.25 and the increase
a
at
new
3.75?
The levy, the 8.25 levy was a new tax levy. It was not a renewal.
I understand, but we bundled it with one that was expiring. Because if the village would have lost, we would have lost our one we weren't renewing too. Okay, we can find those numbers.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, the tax increase was $157.50 per year, basically on a $100,000 home, with the new levy at the higher rate. So if the property tax value increases, there was a total increase of property taxes of $98.17, of which only $53.49 were attributed to the tax levy. So we did.
And that was $98 per $100,000 house?
Yeah, so the council that time did vote to put the tax levy through, absolutely. And then as we presented it to the residents approved and voted on that tax levy.
Can you help us, everybody out here, did they approve on the first time we sent it through or the second time? How many times do we have to push it through to get approved?
Okay, it failed the first time,
Okay.
It went through the second time.
By what kind of margin did it win?
And I do want to put up here,
okay.
since he's going on with that, I spent an hour on the phone with the tax department. My taxes increased $57 a month because of the levy. People that passed this, they passed it the second time, but they were also misled and misinformed of why our relationship with the fire department split up. If they were told the truth, that would never have passed. And that's what I'm going to do, is make sure that the truth gets out there.
The truth was always available and it was given to the residents.
No, it was not.
Okay. So anyway, again, the original agreement was a 10-year agreement. It was a 10-year agreement signed by both the village of Clinton and the village of New Franklin, the city of New Franklin. At the end of that 10-year period, we decided the village and New Franklin extended it for 3 more years. it came to the end of the agreement. Up until through that 3-year agreement, there were some issues between the New Franklin and the Village of Clinton. Continually, New Franklin failed to pay their portion that they owed the Village of Clinton on a regular basis. They were months behind. Matt even experienced that with them when he was on council. That was an issue. There were multiple and repeated times that they did not staff their portion of the fire department. And our Clinton Fire Department had to scramble to cover that, which cost our fire department at one point, as a report in the minutes of October 5th, 2021, we were in up to $15,000 because we were covering the shifts that they weren't covering. So there's a lot to what led to Franklin in the end walking away from us. We continued to go to the table. There was a dispute resolution process that went through. The mayor at the time, then after the chiefs went through their thing, the dispute resolution, which is according to the contract, it then went to the mayors, and the mayors handled it at that time. According to the minutes of February 16th, 2021, Mayor Allegra informed council that there was a dispute resolution process under the current contract with New Franklin. The chiefs will meet, which they did. If they cannot come to a resolution, the mayors will meet. If they can't reach a resolution, the mayors draft a statement of inability to resolve, which happened, and then present respective councils. And then we are in the process of drafting those statements. And then it goes on. At that time, the chief feels that the same Mayor Allegra said to New Franklin that calls it to cut his hours at the joint station. And then Mr. McDaniel said he trusts our fire chief in this matter and feels New Franklin needs to look at the outside source and take it into consideration before taking rash moves. And this will continue to be further addressed. And Mayor Allegra said that she will have New Franklin's document, but it never came to that because Mayor Allegra came back and basically New Franklin walked away from the table. So there's a lot of other stuff that happened that went through. Went through the process, and council never got to vote on it. It dissolved, and that's the end of that.
I think with, granted, this is just authorizations given earlier for discussion. It could end up with nobody comes to something that both sides can work with, or it could be something that, of course, we bring back to council. If we do get something that looks really good, I would say it's got to come back to council. Council, I want it well vetted. As you know, I hate passing anything with less than 3 readings. I definitely want a lot of teeth in it to protect us. If we do something, we may still come back with nothing. So don't anybody make any assumptions right now that anything's going to happen. May or may not, but remember, if it does come back, looks appealing, it's still going to be in your hands to say yes or no to it, if that
Mayor,
happens.
I'd like to comment, if I may, please. I'd like to basically divide my comments in 3 parts. I know when the village citizens voted to move forward with New Franklin, there was a couple parts to that. One was to build and buy the property across the tracks and put a fire station there. The second part of that was to go from volunteer fire department to full-time fire department. And the third part was we were going to pay for an employee and a half, and New Franklin was to pay for an employee and a half, so that we always had 3 people at that fire station. When we voted for that, I don't think residents were voting to do that just for 13 years. We don't build a new fire station for a 13-year program. We build it for moving forward. So I understand how we got where we're at, but at the same time, I'm glad we passed tonight this motion that council supported to at least be open to discussions. Maybe we return to what that original vote from the public was. I do think that partnering with neighboring fire departments only makes us stronger. Now, I also want to give Wayne a vote of confidence because in that levy, he was in a tough spot. We had to come up with money fast to figure out our fire department since we weren't partnering with New Franklin. The village voted for that and got him the money to do that, and he's landed on his feet. We're in a pretty good spot, right? We've got 24-hour man service. He said something about ordering a new tanker, which is on order. He said something about getting a new ambulance, which is on order. So he's done a great job making it work. When he was selling that at the fire station in the public meetings, I wasn't so sure he could do that. So he's done a good job doing what he said he was going to do. And I will say some of it was from when we were doing the budget last year, he would have been in the red if it weren't for the increases we got from that 34% increase from the state, county. Those got us back in the black. So that little bit of money helped the fire department stay in the black. And then just to summarize, I'm glad we made the motion tonight to at least let New Franklin know that we're open to discussions.
I would like to add, go ahead.
I have a question. When did the zoning change out on Van Buren and so on from the 5 acres to the 2.5 acre lots?
I'm not.
After that happened,
I'm not going to print out exactly the details of it.
the big houses started coming in after that.
If when this
So
did
now,
have would have been 2019. because-
There's more room for more houses.
Yeah.
That's making a difference on what's happening now. So we can't compare now to then as easily.
Tax revenue, yeah, yep.
I don't know what the answers are, but I know there's difference and there's still land that can be, will probably be built on because it's not 5 acre total anymore. It's smaller.
Well, I would, if the council authorized a talk, I would ask that it just be a talk and not get to the point where there's a whole thing written, worked out to whereas, the last thing that the mayor came back to us, after he had been talking with the mayor of New Franklin since May, and then in August came and talked to us about this, proposal that they had come up with, and
What proposal was that?
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear this myself.
well, the one where you said that
Let's be clear about this. He made an offer, and in proper procedures, he went over about an hour ago. Me as mayor can take any offer, and I specifically stated during that meeting that I was going to present that at the next safety committee meeting. So the safety committee, their safety committee could review it in great detail and either accept, reject, counterpose, whatever they'd like to do. And that is, I did my job, and I presented to the proper committee so that it could be moved on.
well, okay.
There was no proposal, there was an offer. And I didn't like the offer, the way it stood. The real idea was to get something more in line with what we had before. But that offer really surprised me, as well as everybody else, what they did.
Right.
And I can tell you, looking with being around a lot of the fire chiefs, a lot of the police chiefs, a lot of the safety people, and all these meetings they go to, services for safety is only going to get more expensive. There are going to be more requirements. I see more requirements every day that they bring in for safety. With these 2 planes that crashed just recently, I guarantee you we're going to see more requirements for air travel. But same thing in here. We're going to have more stringent requirements. I don't know if how many of you know this, but with dispatch, you can actually text to dispatch now, which sounds crazy, but one of the reasons for it, if you're being held captive somewhere and you try to talk on the phone, they could hear you, or texting, nobody would hear what you're doing. So I've been given some legitimate reasons for that. But we're looking at the price overall going up to try and operate on our own in the future. It's going to become more and more difficult, more and more expensive.
Right.
So those are things we do need to consider. And I see someday maybe New Franklin will not be able to hold their own there and may have to work themselves together with other communities just to afford things like dispatch, requirements for ambulances, and fire trucks, and whatever else may come about. So there's a lot we don't see, but there's lots. All I say is the price is going to keep going up.
Well, in this proposal that Mayor Addison had put forth before was to have the same type of contract like we had the police department, which could never happen.
Right.
We cannot, if our levies are funded for the Clinton Fire Department. So if the Clinton Fire Department was dissolved, all the money would go away. So if there's going to be any type of agreement, we still need to make sure that they understand that can never happen.
To my knowledge, there was never any talk of dissolving the Clinton Fire Department.
Yeah, there was. Well, they
offered. That was what it would have done, but we did not accept their offer.
Right.
That was dead on arrival.
Yeah, that was dead on arrival, as we said. But this is another reason why we go through committees, and I really expect if something comes back that seems logical to us, we present to the committee. I really would like to see the committee spend a lot of time, go in great detail, be with our legal team to make sure everything's written up in a very logical and well thought out pattern.
This motion passed through council. Shouldn't it go back through council and not safety? Because obviously the two major people on the safety committee are against this. So council members need to hear about this.
Technically, they could. I would encourage everybody. Here's what I encourage. If we come back with something, we may not. They may say nothing.
Agreed.
But if that happens, I would encourage everybody on council to attend the safety meeting and have the input there. And yeah, even if they reject it, council could still vote on it if they wanted to. There's everything relies in council. But I really, most of you who've been on council with me when I was here, I rejected almost every time we tried. Well, you can attest to this. Tried to waive the 3 reading rule. Who was the one who almost always said nay unless there's a darn good reason for it? And that's because I want 3 readings. I want it well vetted. I want the public to be well informed of what's going on, and that they're in agreement with this. This is not something we can just throw together and sneak past anybody. I do not want that to happen,
Well, if you're
ever.
going to present it to safety, then you need to announce it to council first
Okay?
that you're going to do that.
Yeah, I will.
Good point. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, we do have committee meetings, and the committee are the ones that vote to recommend to council. But always, every person on the council is welcome to attend any any committee meeting, and encouraged to put their input on it. And that helps the committee also decide how to go forward. And I have seen it, and I think Bud and I know you said you've seen it, that even something that is voted on in committee to recommend to council, once it gets to council, sometimes it fails.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people that vote in committee positively on something, but then for whatever reason, once it comes up before council, change their votes. And it fails because that committee person looked at things and decided, for whatever reason. So, yes, the committee does the heavy lifting. Everyone should, if they should go to the meetings, give their input, and move on.
Yeah, I made a point when I was as mayor and when I was president of council to attend every committee meeting. And when you're involved in it, it's a lot more interesting. As citizens, I did try to attend committee meetings when I was just a citizen. Yeah, they're kind of boring. You don't understand what's going on.
And their
but,
citizens aren't allowed to talk.
Yeah, well, and when I ran a committee, I actually would encourage the input and allow them to. So it's not allowed to, the chair could allow that if they wanted to.
Yes.
Because I think it's very important that we have citizens input. Yeah, you guys are allowed to talk when you come here. If I could figure out a way to get it so that people watching at home could give input, I would do it. But we can't do that yet. So if you want to say something, come live to our meeting. But this is where I think citizens input, and there's a lot of times I speak to our citizens that I tell them, hey, run for council, get involved here. So not only do you know what's going on, you can be a part of the solution. Any other council general discussion? Presentation of purchase orders and bills for approval.
Thank you, Mayor. A pretty eventful pay period here. The one thing I will point out is Pride Heating and Cooling. Our furnace went out prior to the last council meeting during the day. Pride was called in the morning. They were here in the afternoon. Turns out we haven't serviced our furnace in a long time.
Yeah, it should be done at least once a year.
So it's been years since it had been serviced. They found a simple problem and serviced the unit, so that was for $145 for.
I don't think they serviced it. They just fixed the problem.
Oh.
Service was separate. I talked to Sue about that the next day. So we may want to schedule and come out and service probably before spring, before air conditioning season.
Okay.
Have to service everything. And we have two furnaces here. We're zoned upstairs and downstairs.
So the filters haven't been replaced?
Probably not. Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you.
He did do some service work to it. He found that, a couple of the igniters, they get coated with a film, and he pulled those up and cleaned them up.
I'm just making sure you replace the filters. If not, we have CO detectors in here?
Yeah, that's a good question for our next fire report to ask him.
Is that a CO or just?
That looks like a combo.
I
Yeah,
know usually CO detectors will put on low because
Mhm.
CO
drops down.
drops down.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely need one if we don't
Okay.
have one.
We can check on that.
With that said, our total is $32,318.07. If I could get a motion to pay the bills for that amount.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the Stryker Medical?
I'd have to ask Wayne or Leah on that. I don't know the answer.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Nobody's first or seconded it.
Oh, wow. We're gonna shut down.
Yeah.
It's the time of the year for a shutdown. The federal government does it, so.
I thought I heard someone on that side.
Oh, maybe I missed somebody.
Who did? Jan, you made the motion?
Oh, what did I just say a minute ago?
I don't know.
You said you thought you heard somebody. Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
Motion to pay the bills.
Thank you, Marissa.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All
He's
right.
got it.
Any questions on the bills? Okay, call for the vote.
Blankenship,
Aye.
Joseph,
Aye.
Steiner, aye. Godwin,
Aye.
Clackler,
Aye.
Ginsmore.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn. Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Thank you.
Read it, looks like a medical device.
We're going, right?